I had a terrifying interaction with a man last night at the grocery store. Also, why is the grocery store so scary after 9 p.m. when you're a woman by yourself? But anyways, for context, I'm wearing a oversized hoodie, sweatpants, and Uggs. Okay, literally minding my business, doing a little late night grocery run. And I'm looking for sour cream in the dairy section, and this guy comes up to me, and it kind of caught me by surprise. He's just like, oh, what's your name? And I was like, oh, I'm Kaylee. And like, I grabbed my sour cream, put it in my car. He goes, nice to meet you, Kaylee. And I was like, yeah, you too. And I kind of like walk away and go to the cereal section. And so I'm looking at the cereal, and I can see him out of my peripheral vision walking up to me from down the aisle, and I was like, oh god, just don't look. Just keep staring at the cereal and act like you're really busy and focused on the cereal so that he doesn't talk to you. And then he goes right in front of me, and he goes, so, Kaylee, can I get your number? And I was like, no. Just like that, no. And he goes, why not? And I said, because. And he was like, well, why not? And I said, because I don't want to. And he said, well, is it because you have a boyfriend? Is that why you're saying no? And I was like, no, I'm saying no because I don't want to. And he's like, well, is it because I'm not your type? And I was like, no. And he said, well, you at least owe me an explanation. Like, I need an explanation. I said, I do not owe you an explanation. The answer is no. How many times do you have to say no until a man leaves you alone? It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? And then I keep saying no, and he's literally trying to force me to give him an explanation. I don't have an explanation. The explanation is that I don't want to, so leave me alone. And so we're like having the staring match. I'm trying to like hold my ground and just like stare him back down because he's staring me down, and I'm trying to act like I'm not scared because I feel like once you act scared, they have some sense of power over you. I don't know. So I'm just like staring him down like, leave me alone. And then he was like, well, give me an explanation. I'm like, no. And I said, bro, leave me alone. And like, I walk away and I go to another aisle, and every single aisle I go to after that, I could see him also go to the aisle. Like, I'd be in the middle of the aisle and he'd like go towards like the end of the aisle, and he would just be like pretending to look at stuff at the end of the aisle, but really he was just staring at me, and I could feel him staring at me. And then I would look at him, and then he would give me the look like, I'm watching you look, like scary, creepy, eerie look. And so then I would leave that aisle and go to a different aisle, and it made me forget like 4 things on my list. And also, there was, like, no one in the grocery store. It was almost empty, and the only other people in there were, like, male workers, and I started to feel like I was being hunted. And so I waited a really long time, and I took extra long grocery shopping to make sure that he had definitely left by now before I even check out and think about going to my car in the parking lot, because I thought for sure I was going to be followed to the parking lot. And this is a big man. He was literally, like, over 6'4", like, big man, dark features, like, thick black eyebrows, black hair, wearing a scarf and a trench coat, like. And so finally I finished my checkout, whatever, and I went out to my car. Thank God he wasn't there, but oh my god, terrifying. Why do men not leave you alone when you say no? If you're a man watching this and a girl tells you no, just say, okay, thank you, have a good day, and walk away, leave her alone. Because you make me feel like I'm about to end up on a true crime podcast. Like, seriously, you're scary.
Get ready with me when I talk about all the signs I was getting cheated on that I ignored. First and foremost, we listen and we don't judge. If you're gonna judge, please scroll. So at the time that we were dating, it was when Be Real was a really big thing. Like, it was a really popular app and everybody was on it pretty much. So obviously I had my boyfriend on Be Real. So after a bit, I started to notice a pattern that this one specific girl was reacting hard eyes to like every single one of his Be Reals. So I ignored it at first because I thought it was weird. But then one day he posted a Be Real with me. We were like at a baseball game together, I'm pretty sure. And we were together, very obviously a couple, and he captioned it even. He was like, oh, cutest couple at our school or something like that. And like all kinds of people from our school reacted to it because they're like, oh my gosh, they're together. But then I see this one girl, and it happens to be the same girl that keeps reacting with hard eyes, and she commented LOL on it. LOL. So I decided, I was like, this girl keeps messing with my man, and I don't even know who she is because I've never heard of her. So I looked her up on Instagram. He followed her on Instagram, but her account was private, so I couldn't stalk her. But he was literally our only mutual. My only mutual with her was him. Like, nobody I knew followed her. So I was like, where is this girl from? Like, where did she come from? One day, me and my boyfriend were like on FaceTime, and he was telling me how he posted a TikTok, and I didn't really use TikTok, but I was like, oh, if he has TikTok, like, I want to follow it and see his videos. So he gave me his TikTok, and I followed it, right? He didn't really use it either, I guess. He only had like 11 followers, but they were public. So I checked them, his followers and following, and it was in there. That girl, she was in there. So I was like, that's really weird that they're close enough. Whoever this girl is, they're close enough that she's following him even on TikTok that he doesn't use. So I viewed her profile, but there was like I was too scared to stalk, to be honest. This was like my conscience knowing that I would find something if I stalked, and I didn't want to lose my boyfriend. So I didn't stalk. I just viewed the profile and then I left. And then she viewed my profile back. I don't know what she stalked on there because at the time I didn't do anything. I had no posts or reposts, so probably wasted her time viewing my profile. But yeah. One day though, this is a big kicker. There's two things that happened like around the same time that really did it for me. First of all, I woke up like really early one morning and I don't know why. But I noticed really early that morning when I woke up, like before my alarms, that he had posted his Be Real like in the middle of the night at like when I had already gone to sleep. He posted it because I went to sleep before him, I guess. And it was like him trying to look hot. I was like shirtless and like I was taking like jawline pics. But this girl did not only react to it, she commented with hard eyes on it. She said damn with hard eyes. So I was like, that's it, you need to back off, my man. But I fell back asleep because it was so early, and then when I woke back up to my alarm, I remembered it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go screenshot that and send it to my man and be like, what is this? But then it was deleted. He deleted the Be Real. So I gaslit myself and convinced myself that I made it up and it was a dream, but it was most definitely real. He would delete his B-reels all the time, and I'd be like, why do you delete your B-reels? He would be like, oh, I just decided I didn't like them. But I have a sneaky feeling that she would comment on them all the time, and he would just delete them before I noticed, and that was the one time I noticed. But yeah, I convinced myself it was in my head until I went and stalked her Instagram again, which was still private. But you know what you can see when they're private? You can still see their bio. And this girl's bio literally had his initial in it with a lock. And then you go to his bio, this is the weird thing. He had an initial in his bio, right? But it wasn't of her first name, it was of like her last name. But she had like two last names and I thought she went by the other one. So I was like, that's weird, maybe it's just for himself because he had recently changed his last name to also start with that letter. These two people, they literally had the same initials. So I like gaslit myself that it had like nothing to do with each other and it was like for themselves or something, but it was so super weird. So after this little discovery, I finally worked up the courage to ask him who this girl was, because I was like, this is like solid enough evidence to be like suspicious and like what the hell. So I asked him. I texted him and I was like, hey, I have a question. And he was like, what is it? And I was like, who's, and I said her name. I straight up said her name. I was like, who is this? And he sent me a ... Let me know why I stayed. Let me know why I stayed. I was so dumb. He sent me a ... and I sent another question mark. And then he just said, girl from military school. Bro was being as dry as possible to keep from having to explain himself, but I, for some reason, went with it. I was like, why is she reacting hard? I tell your Be Reals then. And then he was like, babe, it's literally Be Real. No way you're getting mad over Be Real right now. Like, he was so manipulative. He would make me feel so stupid that I would just believe him. So I'd be like, no, you're right. Like, I'm so dumb. Why do I care about a stupid app for teenagers? You're right. Like, it makes me so angry to think about. Like, why did I let him gaslight me like that? But yeah, I believed him. I didn't even bring up the other things I found. I didn't bring up the fact that she commented on his Be Real or their Instagram bios or anything. I just let it slide and I stayed with him because, to be honest, I was dumb and I just wanted a boyfriend. Like, I just didn't want to be single because I had been single for so long that I was tired of it and I just wanted a man. I didn't care if he was cheating on me. Also, there's the fact that this freshman literally told me he was sending her pictures and I didn't believe her. And then I found a screenshot that he sent me of his Snap map one time and she was on it after he told me he didn't have her own Snap. So I literally caught him in that lie too. Also, when I found this out, he would not let me go through his phone. Like, he was really weirdly secretive about his phone. He would be like, no babe, you can't go through it. But it's not because I have anything to hide. It's because I'm just really a private person. And I'm just like really weird about my phone. Like, I don't let anyone go through my phone. Like, it's not you, I promise. If a man tells you that, it is you. They don't want you to find something in there, that's why. If they have nothing to hide, they wouldn't be hiding it.